Warning, this podcast contains spoilers.
Hello everyone, and welcome to the As Seen on TV podcast for The Flash, Season 1, Episode 1, The Pilot. I'm your host, Cleo, and with me I have Dom.
Hello!
I'm really excited about the show.
The show is very interesting. I am not very well versed in the DC universe. And I thoroughly enjoyed it. Like, I don't think I've enjoyed one of these superhero type shows as much as since like the first 3 seasons of Smallville.
Yeah, I was not a Smallville fan. I never really watched that show, but then again, I was never really a huge Superman fan, so that might have been part. But
yeah, Superman is kind of, I think, the weakest of the superheroes in my opinion, when technically he's supposed to be the strongest.
Well, I think that's why. And I mean, over the years, they've tried to give him weaknesses and make him more human, but it always comes down to, yeah, he's super strong, yeah, he's got laser vision, he can do fucking everything. That's usually what
The one and only thing that I do like about Superman, though, is that Superman is the person and Clark Kent is the disguise. It's kind of backwards to what every other superhero is.
Yeah.
So, that's the only interesting part I think about Superman. But anyway...
That's actually a little interesting, because this season of Arrow, they're wrestling with that sort of identity. Which one is he? Is he the Basque, or is he, Oliver Queen? But
yeah, and
Flash. I'll talk about Arrow later.
I actually, just to preface, I've watched the first 3 episodes of Arrow, so I'm not very well versed in there. So any questions about that, I'll have to direct back to you.
Yes, which I like. I like having we do Gotham with Omi, who doesn't know anything about Batman, so
right.
I like having that sort of different viewpoint of the show.
Indeed.
Yeah, because because there are people out there who watch it and have no idea,
right?
What's up. So yeah, Flash is my all-time favorite, and I really like it. Although this Flash is not my favorite. I like Wally West Flash. This is Barry Allen Flash.
Yes, Barry.
I like Barry.
See, I was not even versed in the Flash himself.
Yeah.
The Flash, all I knew is he ran fast. That's all I knew. I didn't know anything. I didn't know what his name was. I didn't know that he had, like, regenerative powers. Like, I didn't know any of it. I just knew he ran. Yeah,
and in this episode, when he gets injured, I got very nervous, because there's a part in which comic? It's Young Justice.
Okay. Where
Impulse, who's another variation of the Flash, he gets shot in the knee, and he starts to heal too fast, but they don't have time to set the bone. Like, ooh. If he had healed, it would have just destroyed his leg.
Right.
So
this one would automatically...
I got very nervous. I was like, oh god, it's too soon for you to be doing that to me.
Yeah, so this one had automatically set itself. Like that looks like the story they're going with. The bone structure knows where it's supposed to be.
Or because she said it healed in 3 hours,
mm-hmm.
which might have been enough time for them to set it before it
oh, that's true too.
Started. Yeah. But yeah. We get, from Arrow, we get to see Barry come to Starling City, which is where Arrow takes place.
You said it was, 600 miles or something?
A couple hundred miles. I don't know. Because in the comics, Star City and Central City are supposed to be like sister cities.
Mm-hmm.
I forget what cities they compare it to in the U.S. I can't remember.
Okay.
But they're like far away but close. Like I'm not exactly sure how.
Probably like New York to Boston, close.
Yeah, probably. But yeah, so he goes as before he's Flash, before he's got any powers, he goes and he's looking for clues about his father, because his father's in jail. So from Arrow, we know a little bit about Barry and his backstory.
Now, was he always like a super detective in like the comics and stuff like that?
Now Barry, I don't know as much as I know about Wally. But I think he's always just been super smart.
I mean, that opening scene where he's investigating and he's like able to rattle off the tire tracks. It was like,
yeah, it's super Sherlock.
Yeah, that was like a superpower in itself.
Yeah. He's always been smart. I don't know to the extent in the comics, but yeah.
Yeah.
But that whole so if you can't tell, we're winging this podcast. I'm trying to we're all over the place, so I'm trying to think of what to talk about next.
Well, what about the billboard that he's been hiding? Like he's not only is he investigating, stuff for what was it, what city are they in?
Oh, Central City.
Central City Police Department. He's the forensic investigator for that. But not only is he doing that, but he's still looking for his parents. The murderer for his mother. He's got that whole billboard with. I assumed that's what that was, with all the, spider. What do they call those things?
I don't know. The web.
Yeah, one of those.
With the string.
String theories, whatever. I don't know, but it's not string.
Yeah, the whole murder board up there.
Murder board. There we go.
It's killer. No, he's never gonna let that lie, even though his dad said, live your life. I think that when his father was talking to him about that, I think it was really like Barry was thinking, yeah, I'm gonna live my life, and my life is gonna be being a hero, saving people, including you.
Right. So you think this is like a story that's gonna arc over for the whole season, or do you think this is gonna go into multiple seasons?
Yes, because we know who killed his mom.
We do?
Yes, it is Reverse Flash, also known as Professor Zoom.
Ooh.
In the flashback that Barry gets when he crashes, he sort of sees the yellow uniform of Dr. Zoom, Professor Zoom.
Gotcha.
And so we who know the Flash know who that is. But I think they're going to put a twist on it. So Professor Zoom in the comics is Eddie Thane, who is Joe West's partner.
So Iris's boyfriend?
Boyfriend, basically.
Okay.
But I think that it's not going to be Eddie Thane. I think it's going to be Dr. Harrison.
Ooh. Because we did see him stand up at the end.
See him at the end. He stands up and he's got like this article. What's the article specifically? Hold on. Newspaper.
Something with Flash
from the future. Yes.
He went missing. Something. The headline was.
Yeah, but it was a from 2024.
Yes.
So it was 10 years in the future. And where the Flash and Professor Zoom's powers come from is the Speed Force. I always get the name of it wrong, but it's called the Speed Force. So it's this force sort of like gravity that's all around, but these superheroes or villains can tap it and go really fast. So that's where the Flash's power comes from.
What is the difference between Professor Zoom and the Flash, though?
Listen, I don't know that much about Professor Zoom. I just know
he's like Reverse Flash, so...
Yeah, he's called Reverse Flash. But I'm not, 100% sure why.
They must both have the exact same power?
Yeah, they both get their powers from the Speed Force. And...
Because the way it was presented to me is in the opening scene, it looked like he was... if that was Dr. Zoom in the opening scene, it looked like Barry was hit with one side of the power, and then the lightning storm triggered a additional side effect, and that's what gave him his powers, was both of those combining.
Well, because Barry sees him running around his mother, and then his dad tells him to run, and then all of a sudden he's in the middle of the street. I think... Now, I can't remember if his father has the same power. What's his father's name? Shoot. Now
Henry?
Henry?
Henry Allen, yeah.
Henry Allen? I don't think in the comics he had any powers, but I'm curious to see what his father's got. We're not done with his father.
No, definitely
his father's got in store, especially if we get flashbacks of him.
Yeah.
Because I think he's got some sort of power.
And Detective West also said that, you know, he knew now that Barry's father was innocent.
Yes.
So there's probably going to be some stuff on his part, too. Was he the arresting officer? Do we know?
Well, he was on the scene. I think there were other officers. I'm not sure who exactly was dragging Henry away.
So he could technically reopen that case because he was there in light of new evidence, even though it seems like a closed case. But
I don't think he's going to do that yet because he believes Barry. He doesn't have the proof that he needs to prove Henry's innocence, but he sees now that Barry wasn't lying about the powers and shit.
Right.
So he's like, oh, I believe what you're saying now because I see that this is real. I see what you can do. I see what that dude can do. What the heck was his name? The
villain?
Yeah.
Clyde Martin?
Yeah.
Also known as the Weather Wizard. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. And he saw what Clyde could do, and he believes now in these powers. He just doesn't have the evidence to prove Henry's innocence.
Now, Weather Wizard was shot dead, right?
Was that what happened?
He was shot, I thought, at the end. Remember, he was standing over Barry and Joe shot him?
Yeah.
But do we know if he's dead?
I'm not sure.
Because in the comics, because I was just looking up some stuff real quick, but in the comics, he was known as Mark Martin. And he was Clyde's brother.
Yeah.
So I'm sure his brother probably has the same power, and they went with Clyde, so they open with Clyde to kill him off, so I have a feeling we'll see Mark and the Weather Wizard will return, so to speak.
We might, because the impression we were supposed to get was that the brother died in the plane, and Clyde lived.
Right.
So if the brother survived, then Clyde, if the brother survived, then Clyde's been going around thinking his brother's dead, because he wouldn't.
Right.
He was you could tell he wasn't lying when he said his brother died and he didn't.
Right.
So if his brother's alive, then he's somewhere. Nobody knows.
Nobody knows, but I would assume that since they were both in the same place, that they triggered the same powers. Much like how Barry ended up with the Reverse Flash's power. So we're come to believe that the article that was read in the future there, the 2024 article,
yes,
that the Flash goes back to the past. Right? If he's missing in the future, that he would go back to the past and have something to do with that incident. Maybe he's responsible for his own parents' death.
I don't think that he's responsible, but the thing about...
Or he thinks he's responsible, because that blur that was going around, that may not have been what killed him. He may have been doing that to save his mother, or...
But that was Reverse Flash, because clearly he had the yellow...
Was it?
Suit, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because the Reverse Flash has the yellow suit with the red accents, and Flash has red suit with the yellow accents.
Gotcha.
So... But the thing about Professor Zoom is... I'm pretty sure that he's capable of using his powers to trigger time travel.
Gotcha.
And I don't think that Barry might eventually develop that power, but I don't think he has it for a long time.
Right.
It's possible that in this season, though, he could accidentally trigger time travel.
Could he pull a Superman and run really fast around the world backwards?
He could. I mean, that's a smaller version of what he did in this episode with the tornado.
Right.
It is possible.
Now, that theory right there, the running, flying around, whatever it is, the world backwards, that just seems ridiculous to me. Like, I don't understand how that would actually cause time travel, because
It
the theory
wouldn't.
is, yeah, it's just the reason why people think that is because of the time zones, right?
The reason people think that is because it's just going backwards.
Mm.
The Earth moves forward and time moves forward. The only reason that was ever considered a thing was because if the Earth moves backwards, maybe time goes backwards. But
Maybe.
that's not science.
That's not science.
Not science.
I want to see him run around the world fast enough that he spins the world backwards and the Earth's rotation completely changes.
Yeah.
That'd be interesting.
Yeah, that would be the only thing that happens from doing something like
Yeah.
that. Be fucking up the world's,
All the seasons would be in reverse.
Not reverse, but they would be off.
Right.
Like, you'd turn it back and it'd go a little backwards, and then everything would be just a little off.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I want to talk about Iris West now.
Okay.
Because she plays a big part in not just Barry's Flash storyline, but Wally's Flash storyline. Wally is the successor to Barry.
Okay.
As the Flash.
And
how
long do you think we're going to end up with Barry, though?
Well, Iris is Wally's aunt. But we haven't seen a sibling.
Okay, so we're probably sticking with Barry for a while.
Mm.
Okay. You had me worried for a second. I thought Barry was going to, like, die off in this season or something.
No. Hopefully they stick with Barry, because he's very charismatic, and I really like this actor. He does a very good job of being the Flash.
He does. Like, but the scene toward the beginning with Barry and Iris, like, Barry clearly had feelings for Iris. Do you think she knew what he was going to say, or was she just not playing, but do you think she was just oblivious to it?
No, because she legitimately thought that he wanted to tell her about another girl, and she's like, I know it's awkward because I'm like your sister, but you can tell me anything about whatever girl you're seeing. And Barry's like, not quite.
He just couldn't get it out.
I really don't like these kinds of stories where it's like you expect them to know what you're feeling, but they assume something different. And I don't know. I just don't really like it. I hope they don't take it in a direction that's dumb.
Yeah.
I just hope they treat it
well, because you could already see that, what is it, Eddie?
Yeah.
Eddie and Barry kind of have this rivalry because of this now.
Yeah, definitely. And she's still oblivious, and it's like, Barry needs to say something. Just, like, get it off his chest, or get over it, or whatever.
Even if he does say something, it's not going to do anything at this stage.
I know, but him sitting on it also isn't, it's probably going to do more harm than good.
Maybe?
Yeah.
Because if he wants
chance... Like, as soon as Barry woke up, I'm like, ooh, dude, 9 months or 6 months is a long time.
Yeah. But if he wants a chance with Iris, he can't spill the beans while she's with someone else, because that's going to ruin his chances.
I don't know. Like I said, I don't like these kinds of stories where it's like,
yeah,
I'm so shy, I can't tell this girl, oh.
I don't understand that. Like, just spit it out.
Yeah, and it is tough because they are like brother and sister. They've been so close all their lives, and since Barry lost his parents, Joe sort of took him in as like a adopted kid. So
yeah,
it's a very tough situation to navigate. But in the comics, they do end up married. So
ooh, excellent.
Spoilers.
we tell you it's a spoiler after we tell you.
Yeah, whatever.
We told you at the beginning of this podcast that it's going to contain spoilers, so deal with it.
I also want to point out something that I just went crazy over. When Barry woke up and he was taken around S.T.A.R Labs, they passed a broken through cage that said Grodd on it. Now, Gorilla Grodd is a villain for the Flash.
Ooh. Okay, see, that's something I never would have noticed.
He is, I saw Grodd, like, oh! he is an intelligent gorilla, like really smart, and he hates the Flash.
So we're under the impression that he broke out already. So the people at S.T.A.R Labs are definitely hiding the fact that they know about these. What did they call them? Forget the name, the term that they used for.
Yeah, I don't remember either. Metahumans.
Metahumans. Yeah.
Metahumans. Okay. Yeah. But technically, Grodd's not a metahuman, and I forget how he gets super intelligent.
I'm sure it's going to have something to do with the particle accelerator exploding.
Yeah. But there's... I don't know why my brain is thinking that it was a mind of a human, like, merged with Grodd's gorilla brain. I forget exactly how he gets his super intelligence.
Okay.
But either way, he escaped and he's out there, and he's probably already hyper intelligent. More than likely, he clearly was an experiment because they kept him in a lab. So whatever, whenever he pops up, which I don't think will be for a while because the guest stars, the line is like a mile long, and so we're gonna have a bunch of villains before we get to Gorilla Grodd.
Excellent.
Speaking of appearances from characters of the comics, we get the reporter, Linda Park, who becomes Wally's wife.
Okay.
So she is tied in with the Flash timeline. How much of an involvement she'll play now, because Wally's not in the picture, is unclear, but they are teasing her. So we might just see her as the reporter every now and again, but she's definitely been like, here, look!
And that was...
Here!
She was on what news channel? It was...
It's probably... And I remember us talking about this last week, and I don't remember. It's probably the same channel that they use in Gotham and in Arrow. But now I'm forgetting which it is.
I'm looking right now. It says Channel 52.
Yeah.
Channel 52...
Sorry. There's a whole line of comics in DC called The New 52.
Okay.
So 52 is a very important number to DC.
Gotcha. Okay.
I had a moment.
You had a moment.
I had a moment.
Sorry. So is this the same news channel that's in Arrow?
It might be. I am now forgetting. That's gonna have to be something that I look up and come back to next week.
Okay.
But it is completely possible that it's the same from Gotham. Might not be the same number since they're different cities, but it's definitely going to be the same company, I think.
Okay.
But 52 is a very big number in the DCU.
See, even though I don't understand those references, I love the fact that they're putting them in there.
Yep, like, and I love that they're there.
Yeah, that makes it all that more interesting to me.
And I felt so good, because sometimes there are, like, references in Arrow where I have to get confirmation, where I'm like, is that a reference? Let me look it up. Let me ask somebody. But in this episode, I was like, Gorilla Grodd, Linda Park. Like, we're good. We got this. And I really need to read more about Professor Zoom, because I only know him as the Reverse Flash, and I haven't really read many things where he's a big player.
Right.
So I definitely have to read more about him.
Apparently, the Big Belly Burger, from what I'm reading, was also in this scene. It says the chain has officially made its way to Central City.
Barry
had his lunch there.
Yeah.
Big Belly Burgers from Arrow, apparently.
It probably is, yeah. It's a big chain. I don't remember explicitly seeing it in Arrow, but I don't doubt that it's carried over. Because these two cities, Starling City and Central City, are close.
Right.
And I don't doubt that they have the same chain restaurants.
Yeah. I also did notice in the newspaper article at the end, there was a sub-article down in the lower left corner that said, what was it? Wayne and what is Oliver's last name?
West. No, hold on. Queen.
Wayne / Queen
Wayne and Queen.
merger something that they were
Oh!
they were doing something.
That's awesome. I did not notice that.
Yeah.
That's really funny. And I'm gonna save it for my Arrow podcast, but there is someone else from the DCU who makes an appearance.
Ooh.
Love it.
So it seems like they're trying to tie the whole DC universe together in the shows the way Marvel's doing their movies.
Yeah,
so.
they're really trying to get them all in there.
It's just a question of whether or not the TV series Gotham is really tied to all this or not, because it's technically on a different network.
Yeah. Well, at first I thought, no, it can't be tied, but then what was it? What was it that made me think that they're tied?
It was the TV station that was broadcasting Gotham, and I don't remember the name of that one.
Yeah.
I don't believe it was Channel 60, whatever it was.
52.
52. I don't believe it was that. I believe it was like W something, whatever.
Yeah, but since they're different cities, it's probably that the numbers are different, but the station might be the same.
Right.
Like, channel, I don't know, ABC, it has their different news things all over the country, but it's still ABC.
Right.
So, yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure they're gonna lay that groundwork in Gotham, and whether these shows survive will determine how they get tied together.
Yeah. I'm actually reading as well that there was the news story about Barry's parents' murders was written by Evan Gibson, who is a Star City TV reporter in the Green Arrow.
Yeah.
So
it's interesting, and it is 10 years in the future, and there is something about the name of Starling City that they're exploring this season in Arrow. I'll just fucking say it.
Okay.
So, in the first episode of Arrow, and if you don't want to hear about Arrow or whatever, just don't listen to this part. But in this first episode of Arrow, Ray Palmer is introduced as a character. He's in it. He's bidding for the CEO chair of Queens Consolidated. And he is the Atom. The superhero, the Atom in the DCU. And his whole presentation to the board of Queen Consolidated is, I'm going to clean up this, bring this city up, and I'm going to bring this company up with it. And he wants to change the name of Starling City to Star City, which is the name of this city in the comics. Okay.
I was reading real quick, the other two assistants at Star Labs, Cisco Ramon is supposedly a character known as the Vibe.
Oh, okay.
And Caitlin Snow, the girl, is known as Killer Frost. So I'm sure they will be villains at some point.
Maybe. I mean, they could always be changing things. Oh, yeah. Killer Frost is involved in Hive, which is like an agency sort of organization, like a secret organization, but sort of evil, sort of.
Yeah, Wayne Tech Queen Incorporated merger complete is what it says in the newspaper article. April 25th, 2024.
Yeah, it's 24. So 10 years in the future. So
also something about Red Skies Vanish. I don't know what that could be in reference to.
I'm not sure. That's another thing I'll probably have to look up. I need to, be prepared in the future. these things.
I'm reading right now. It says, since Barry's ability to time travel has seemingly been confirmed for the TV series, nothing is set in stone just yet, which means that there's a chance the world won't be exposed to the red skies caused by the crisis, and there may be still hope to avoid the Wayne Tech Queen Incorporated merger, also reported in the newspaper.
I think they're referring to Crisis on Infinite Earths, which is a
whole series, comic series.
Whole big arc in the DCU,
right?
And it was sort of their way of saying, oh, here are all these different universes that we've addressed in the comics. We're gonna merge them all together,
right?
But then they like immediately take it back. It was one of those things where like we've tied up all the loose ends, and then they fall apart.
Yeah.
Which and the reason I know so much about the DCU, and I don't know so much, like my knowledge is not that vast.
Right.
The reason I know what I do is because I was very into the whole series that started, must have been a long time ago, don't remember, but it starts with Identity Crisis in the comics, and that goes for a while, and then Crisis on Infinite Earths, and, then Infinite Crisis, then Crisis on Infinite Earths, and then 52 Weeks, and, you know, they keep doing these large, overarching series, and I've lost track recently. But I was very into, and I have all of those from those first couple of very big series, so
yeah,
that's why I know so much.
Excellent.
And, yeah, it definitely seems like, as Marvel's trying to inch their way towards Civil War, DC is trying to inch their way towards, Infinite Crisis.
Makes sense. It makes sense.
Well, actually, Roy Palmer plays a big part in it. A lot of characters play big parts, so yeah. They're definitely trying to bring something about.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. I think we touched on a lot. All of it, maybe most of it. Don't know.
Yeah.
I'm definitely happy with their casting for Joe West. He's awesome.
Yes, he is. He did a great job. He's kind of that overprotective father figure, and he fits the role very well.
Yeah, and I'm very happy. I love that actor. While I didn't watch him on what was he on Law and Order, one of those shows. I really like Law and Order, but he was in
yeah, he was on Law and Order.
Yeah, he was in Rent, and I love him.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm very curious. See, I typically don't like premieres. I always find them very weak and flawed, and it seems like you enjoyed it as a very strong DC fan, and also a fan of Arrow, and I enjoyed it as a casual DC fan and not a follower of Arrow. So I think it hit that crowd very well.
It does, because it takes itself out of Arrow's vibe.
Right.
Like, Arrow's got a very specific vibe, and Flash is setting up its own very specific vibe, and they're going to be very different shows. Right,
so that was my question, is, like, how does... As I watch the first few episodes of Arrow, it's really grounded in kind of, like, a more traditional reality, where this one is kind of, like, the superhero, like, superpowers, all this stuff. So, do they have, like, super-powered characters in Arrow?
Yes and no. So Arrow definitely starts out as just very skilled people doing very crazy things.
Right.
But then this serum gets introduced, and you do have superpowered people. Slade is actually juiced up with the miracle drug that, if you're a fan of Arrow, you know as the Mirikuru. So, yeah, there is some element of superpowers, but it's not... it's more like super soldiers, kind of, than superpowers. Even if they and if they continue with Ray Palmer, that's going to be more like Ant-Man in the Marvel Universe, where it's a suit that shrinks him, and so that's not going to be sort of that Flash kind of superpower, but it's going to be Ant-Man-made sort of superpower.
Right.
So yeah, it's got a different vibe in that terms, but I'm talking more of, like, the feel of the show. So, like, Arrow comes into itself and is very, like, it's cheesy. It is quite full of cheese. You have failed this city!
The very first episodes seemed very reality grounded to me. The very, very first couple.
It really starts out that way, and quickly changes. Like Arrow's the vibe from the first episode of Arrow to the vibe right now. There's still a lot of seriousness in it,
Right.
but it doesn't take itself too seriously.
Well, that's good.
Because there are just some things that are so ridiculous that it's like okay.
Because this one started out ridiculous, like The Flash. It started out ridiculous, and it has like it's more of a. And I don't mean this in a bad way, but it's more of a ridiculous vibe through the whole episode.
Mm-hmm.
Keeping very minorly grounded in the real world.
Well, with Flash, I feel like the comedy comes from the characters and like because Barry's he's funny. He makes jokes. Yeah. He's funny.
No, I loved it. Yeah. But
in Arrow, it comes from like just the ridiculous stuff that happens.
Right.
Like the funniest character in that is Felicity, but like the funniest things that happen is just the things that aren't meant to be, or not that they weren't meant to be funny, but that the characters don't mean them to be funny.
Right.
I think the writers definitely mean it to be funny. It is a little funny.
Yeah, no, it's good. But like it seems like the CW now is gaining all these DC shows. Like Fox has Gotham right now. But that's completely set in a different time period and all this stuff. Do you see room for the CW to, and this, I don't know what the company is that's running Flash and Arrow. But if this production company is, what is it? I'm trying to find, the executive producer's Greg Berlanti. If they have Bonanza Productions. That's what it is. Berlanti Productions. If they have room to just expand on the DC TV line, right? Like, 'cause we have the rest of the Justice League too that they could start introducing TV shows for. And granted, they're not going to want to throw them all out at once, but maybe every year now for the next. Because Flash is doing so well, if they decide next year to throw another spinoff out, what do you think would be the next character that they could toss out there?
Well, and it depends if they want to treat it like The Flash was treated, where he's introduced in a show and then he gets his own spinoff. Mm-hmm. Or if they just want to make a new show like they did with Gotham.
Right.
I don't know, because it seems like they want to go in the direction of the comics and get into those very big overarching storylines, but I don't know if they're going to want to have every character in its own show. That seems like a lot. They may want to get to a point where they have all these characters and then go, okay, here's the Justice League show.
Because they basically did that in Smallville, right? The Justice League was formed in the final couple seasons, and obviously it's a completely different universe because it was a different actor that played the Green Arrow, and then when the Green Arrow TV series came out, it was a retelling of the whole thing. So like, Green Arrow was hanging around in Smallville. Was it Aquaman was there?
Aquaman, Cyborg. I think was Flash in it? I think so.
I think he was.
Yeah.
It's been a while since Smallville, and I kind of lost interest in it toward the end of the series, and I was forcing my way through it just to get to the end. So I didn't.
The only full episodes I really saw were the episodes with the Justice League, and I'm pretty sure it was Flash, fucking Aquaman, Green Arrow.
I would love to see all these as individual TV series.
Yeah.
I think it would be great, but I don't know if I would have the time to watch them right now, to be honest.
No, definitely not. And I think what will be in their best interest is to introduce a lot of these characters and then have one show that has a lot of them in it. Where maybe none of them are really the main character, but like a Justice League show.
Yeah, or they could traverse back and forth between the two shows too, bridge some gaps, and have Aquaman go between the Flash and Arrow and end up on both shows.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely gonna depend on how the show evolves, because they're gonna want to see how fans react to the current crossovers. Mm-hmm. So, like, we had the scene in The Flash with Ollie,
Yep.
where he's been telling Oliver his story and how he's got these powers now and he wants to help and he's going to wear a mask. And
now, is this something that we see in Arrow as well? Do they do this scene again in Arrow?
Yes.
Okay.
They skip Barry's whole speech, but they have Barry call Ollie and they meet on the rooftop and they talk.
Interesting.
We don't see their conversation, but we know he goes and talks to Barry.
That's interesting.
So we see him in Arrow too.
So you see him in Arrow, but you don't know the conversation until you watch The Flash.
Yeah, they don't. Well, The Flash comes on the day before, so Flash is first. Flash is on Tuesdays.
Right, but I'm trying to
Arrow's
think of how did that feel to somebody who didn't watch The Flash?
Well, Arrow. If you've watched all of Arrow, you know who Barry is. You know, because we get a glimpse of him getting his powers. Like, we hear about him getting hit by lightning 6 or 9 months ago, or however long it was.
Mm-hmm.
So we know he's injured and he's unconscious and he's in a coma. We knew that from last season.
Okay.
So this is him waking up, coming, and we like, oh, okay, he's out of his coma. For someone who only watches Arrow.
Right, so
you wouldn't be totally lost.
You didn't get to see the conversation, but you know that they met up, and
yes.
Is it done at like the beginning, the end of the episode, somewhere in the middle?
End of the episode.
Not
very end, but it's at the end.
Okay.
So for an Arrow fan who didn't watch the first episode of The Flash, you would know who Barry is, where he's coming from. And I think I forgot exactly what Barry says to Ollie in that episode, but
so he did have some kind of dialogue. There was
yes.
some. Okay.
You see his face. You see him calling Ollie to come meet up on the roof.
But you don't see the dialogue when they're on the roof?
I don't think so.
Okay. I feel like that would seem so obscure to somebody who doesn't even know the Flash TV series exists right now. I mean, I'm sure they're...
It would be very hard for you to not know that it exists.
Yeah, I'm sure they're...
Watch Arrow, but don't watch The Flash.
Right.
But definitely during Arrow, there are commercials for The Flash. If you know anything about the CW, you know that The Flash has been...
Yeah, I just feel like, let's say 5 years from now, somebody picks up the Arrow season on DVD and they're watching through. Would that seem completely obscure if you didn't know the TV series had started?
I don't think so, because you know, as watching Arrow, you've been introduced to Barry.
Okay.
And you know that he was hit by lightning and he was unconscious and he was in a coma.
Right. Right.
I'll have to look up exactly what he said, because there was something that happens at the end of Arrow that totally just wipes your mind of whatever just happened before, and it's like, ah! It was a very heavy moment at the very, very end of that.
Nice. Hopefully I can catch up on Arrow this summer. Yeah. We'll not be able to fit it in this fall.
Totally. But that's cool. I'm going to be doing podcasts. Like, I don't know what to call them, though, because they're just going to be videos. It's not going to be a podcast. It's just going to be me. That's
fine.
Yeah. I just don't know what to call it.
It's a podcast.
Yeah, whatever.
Cleo's Corner.
Cleo's Corner, yeah. Make a sign.
Yeah.
So, let's see. Next episode. There's no synopsis. Thank you. Thank you, Wikipedia. You help a lot. So, next episode is called The Fastest Man Alive. And, yeah. You can only imagine it's more. Oh, right, wait. Are they introducing Captain Cold next?
I have the synopsis. You want me to read it?
Yeah. Thank you.
Barry has fun with his new powers, but a setback makes him question his ability to be a hero. Barry escorts Iris to a university gathering honoring... Wait, is this the first episode?
No, Fastest Man Alive is the next episode.
Okay, it just seems like the beginning. Barry escorts Iris to a university gathering honoring students. Gathering honoring scientist Simon Stagg. When 6 gunmen storm the event, Barry changes into the Flash and tries to stop them. When he does save a man's life, he passes out before he can capture the robbers, which frustrates him. As Dr. Wells, Caitlin, and Cisco scramble to find out what's wrong with Barry, Joe comes down hard on Barry for taking the law into his own hands and risking his life. Barry realizes that it wasn't 6 gunmen, but a metahuman named Denton Black, who can make multiples of himself.
Yeah, that's, shoot, what's his name?
Meanwhile, Iris becomes even more intrigued by the Red Streak.
I guess that's what they're calling him.
Yeah, so instead of the Smallville where they called him the Blur.
Yeah.
Now this guy's the Red Streak. But, yeah.
I can't see his name. Multiple Man or multiple? I think it's Multiple Man.
Yeah.
That's the villain that can make copies of himself.
Excellent. It should be very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking forward to it.
Because, yeah, I did see the trailer now that you said the synopsis. I remember that he either gets shot or, like, in the arm or something. And he's not bulletproof. He is just fast. Which is it's not a small thing, because there is a lot that the Flash is able to do with those powers that doesn't just involve running really fast. So
I can't wait to see them unfold. We're probably going to ease into them slowly, but yeah.
Oh yeah, because he's got to learn. Obviously, if he passes out, then he's not used to going this fast. He doesn't have the sort of constitution to withstand going so fast for so long. So it's definitely going to be developed. And that's it for this episode. Dom, where can the people find you?
You can find me down below at Phenomenon, PHENOMEDOM.
And you can find me at Clio Moto on all over the internet, especially on Pinterest. Go follow me on Pinterest, because when I hit 100 followers, I'm going to do a giveaway. It's probably going to be some, like, nerdy t-shirts or whatever.
I just want to make a quick correction. We have Archon D in chat saying Multiple Man is Marvel.
Oh, so. My bad. So it's somebody else.
So all these DC fans that are lashing out at Cleo right now.
I'm wearing a Marvel shirt. I'm sorry.
Hey, look at this. Look who's also wearing a Marvel shirt. wrong show, right?
Clearly doing the wrong podcast.
I'm a fan of the comic book genre in general.
Thank you for the point out, because I couldn't remember. I couldn't remember. I can't.
Yep.
Anyway, you can find all of us on ASOTV Podcast on Facebook, Twitter, Gmail, Google+, and right here on YouTube. So have a nice day. Thanks for watching.
See you later.